So 2025 Honda Transalp. The last video I did, I installed the center stand, and I really had the intention of doing a video and installing all the accessories that I bought for this bike, but we had a real bad snap of cold weather, and I just got in the basement and got going with it and didn't bother filming. So anyway, here we are. So just a quick overview. Of course, we got the OEM Honda handguards and wind deflectors. Not really strong, but I think they'll do the job for what little bit I'm going to be doing. So coming down here, the first thing that I installed was the engine guard, which is specifically this piece here that actually goes behind this piece and bolts to the frame. This has to be in place in order for you to put the skid plate on. And so again, this is kind of the basis for most stuff that you're going to be doing on this bike as far as engine guard and frame guard. Now the frame guards will go on without this, but to me this is kind of the most important part of the game here. And you can see the skid plate. There's quite a bit of clearance between the back of the fender here and up to where there's no coverage for the skid plate. So again, this is the Honda OEM skid plate, but I really like it. Thought I'd give it a try. It's pretty thick aluminum. We'll see how that works out, as far as long term goes. But anyway, frame guard, engine guard, or fairing guards, if you will. So I put those on, of course, the engine guard first, then the skid plate, and then the fairing guard, which you can see how this kind of bolts in here and so forth. If you're planning on doing this job, the one thing that I would recommend is put everything on: frame guard, fairing guard, radiator guard's pretty easy, skid plate, and leave everything loose on the back, and then start from the bottom and just work your way up, kind of torquing and tightening. Seems to work a little better. Actually, as far as fit and finish, I experienced very little problems with alignment with bolt holes and so forth. But still, it just makes it a little easier if you leave everything kind of loose and then come back and just systematically start from the bottom and work your way up, is what I found to be the best option for that. So the next thing, of course, I installed was the pannier racks, or the hard case racks, whatever you want to call them, and of course the top. And so I'll show kind of how that works here. So you can see here, that's in the lock position, and so nothing comes loose. This is how you remove it from the bike. This is how you open the lid. So if I just turn this to unlock, flip this lever, then the top case will open up, and it's pretty big in here. I know the camera's probably not really showing that, but you could get at least one helmet, possibly two helmets inside here, and lock them up. Of course, this is just the installation QR code for when you want to check that out. Now the way this comes off, so we close the lid, lock it. Now the lid's locked, and if you look under here, you see this this metal piece here. And so when I lift this latch, you'll see that metal piece move. And so that's basically how this works. So it's pretty secure. So you just bring it down on here, get it centered good, and then engage it, turn the key, lock it, and it's not going anywhere. So you also notice from this rear view, this left side hard case is significantly fatter than the right side, and that's just for the exhaust clearance here. I have seen some people putting you know, like heat resistant tape and stuff on here, but I look at it this way: if Honda didn't send it, then I probably don't need it. And so same deal here. This opens the side, this mounts it to the back, key goes in, we go to unlock. When I flip this lever, it's just gonna fall right open. And so not a tremendous amount of room in here, but still enough, especially up here. I do like these. They're all rubber gasketed. It's probably just regular door molding. But to take it off, you're just gonna close it, flip this latch down, and on these, there's a lever here. So when I pull this up, you'll see that lever just kind of drops and falls out of the way. And so from underneath, you can see it's a pretty neat system. So if I push it down and then lock it, and they're pretty doggone secure. You do have to mount this support arm under your rear foot peg. Then there's a big rubber piece here that this kind of sets on. So I may show it another video. These can be a little finicky till you kind of figure out the trick for putting them on. But pretty simplistic. Of course, the left side, pretty much the same deal. Unlock. And you can see this one's quite a bit bigger. Got some cords in here. I'll kind of go over this later. This kind of works in conjunction with my phone charger here, and I'll kind of show how I did that. I kind of did that homemade. But anyway, so far I've been really happy with this setup. Again, the same on this side. You pull this lever, handle up, and that lever drops down and out of the way. And so, like I said, pretty secure. Now, one thing I'll mention, you cannot pull the key out if this is unlocked. So you see the key will not come out. So once I lock it, then the key comes out. So the reason I bring that up, you can't take these off unless they're in the unlocked position. And the only way they can be in unlocked position is if the key is present in it. So if the key's not there, they're not coming off. So haven't really rode yet since I've got these accessories all put on. So I'll probably try to do that at some point today. And of course, the top case, you know, of course, you can ride this bike 2-up, and one of the nice pieces that comes with it, you can mount this actual backrest on it. And you can see this is a pretty sturdy case here. So I'll be getting my 2-up partner maybe on here later today, and we'll let her test out the passenger seat and this backrest. I also have the comfort seat. I may put that in the video later. So pretty much, this is almost all the accessories. Now, I didn't put the Enduro foot pegs on. Just kind of waiting to see if I'm gonna need those. Of course, I didn't put the heated grips on. That's living here in Northwest Georgia. We're rarely gonna need that. I do have another product for cold weather riding I may talk about later. And I think I mentioned earlier, I did put the you know, the radiator guard on. It's this nice brushed stainless piece. If you'll notice behind it, I just cut a piece of old window screen I had, just to kind of help keep those little tiny Georgia gnats from getting in there. To take this off, you just undo these 2 Allen heads, and it just comes right out real easily. So that's easily serviceable and cleanable. So So that's it. The 2025 Honda Transalp. You know, there's a lot of hotly contested, I guess you might say, debate on whether the Yamaha Tenere T7 is better than this, and so forth and so on. And you know, I think it's just all what you buy the bike for. Me personally, I have other bikes. This bike for me is really going to be probably an 80% on-road bike. You know, the good thing about this bike, if I do want to go off-road, I can, you know, I can definitely do that. It's not a motocross bike. I shouldn't be using it that way. Not me being a working man. I don't want to destroy it on an MX track. So like I said, you know, this bike will primarily be an on-road bike for me. I may hit a Forest Service road, may ride a woods trail occasionally. But so to me, it's not about, is, you know, the Tenere better than the Transalp. It's what's better for me as the rider. And so I definitely think that this is going to satisfy everything I needed, which was really a more powerful, faster, street-oriented machine. But I'm just not a street bike guy. I don't care about, you know, having a Ninja or a Hayabusa. But I do want something I can ride on the street occasionally with comfort and ease. So this definitely works perfectly for me. Off-road, I have a XR 650L, I have a CRF 300L, if I want to do all that stuff. And so, anyway, just thought I'd show everybody pretty much what this bike looks like, completely decked out. If you do have any questions about the side cases, like the actual size or what'll fit in them, let me know. I'll just do another little video. We'll put a banana in it for scale or whatever you wish. I do have one complaint. These wind deflectors only come in black now. They did come in white. I really would prefer white here. I think it would just look better on the bike, but that's just me. I know I can find some later. But otherwise, there you have it. The 2025 Honda Transalp. And so it's Christmas Eve, and so maybe doing a little ride later today. Like I said, I'd like to get my 2-up partner on here and let her test out the top case / backrest. So any questions, let me know. This is all Honda OEM accessories, other than this homemade phone charger cord I made. This, of course, is not homemade. This is a battery tender. You see I'm showing 13 volts. But I will talk about that too. So anyway, other than that, the phone mount, everything's pretty much OEM. So there you have it. Well, maybe you can tell from some of that footage there, riding with my neighbor. Definitely the side cases and the top case don't make any difference in the handling. And of course they're empty, but yeah, I like it. This bike definitely has an unusual look, and but I'm here to tell you it rides really well. So if you're thinking about getting one of these, well, I would highly recommend it. Alright, here we are. Got my passenger on, so we're gonna let her test out the backrest here on the top case. See how we like it. Alright, let's test out 2 up here. So there we have it. Passenger two-up test was good, so let's do a little magic and show just what it looks like with no panniers on it and no top case. All right, and there we go. So pretty minimal. You just got these little extensions here, which really just give you more place to grab. And of course, these rubber pieces that the panniers sit on both sides. So pretty easy. And the top case, you just bolt this one plate on here. So yeah, I really like it. Like I said, it'd be good for on-road stuff, off-road, maybe not so much. So anyway, it's Christmas Eve, heat wave here in Georgia. It's like 74 degrees right now on Christmas Eve. So Merry Christmas.